Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the Comedy Cures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. Have you ever thought about manifestation? Well, I have the best example of manifestation involving you, involving me, involving this podcast, Beating Cancer Daily. I can't wait to share it with you. But if this is your first episode, I really want you to know that so many of our episodes are very different. And so if you're seeking more humor, if you're seeking more research, if you're seeking just fun strategies, make sure that you listen to the many episodes. There are hundreds of them of this podcast. But today is so unbelievably celebratory and positive. But I have to start with a definition of manifestation because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Now, if you read a definition like in Cambridge Dictionary, it's going to be very different. So I'm going to pick a definition from the Berkeley Wellbeing Institute so that we can start on the same page. So here's a definition that they give. The word manifestation means to create something or turn something from an idea into reality. In psychology, manifestation generally means using our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs to bring something to our physical reality. Now, we did it. I can't wait to share this with you. I'm probably going to cry, but we did it on this podcast. And I have so much to say about this. And I also want to share some really funny humor with you about manifestation. But I really, just for time's sake, want to refer you to this Berkeley Wellbeing Institute article on well-being because they actually go into the science behind manifestation and then give so many great ideas on how to manifest. Now, we do that on this podcast too, but this is a very comprehensive web article with steps, action steps, and suggestions and videos on how to manifest. So I definitely want you to look at that. Some of you may have read The Secret. Now, it's interesting because some people look at the book like The Secret as pseudoscience. I think the way the Berkeley Wellbeing Institute handles it is really interesting. So I'm going to send you there after you get done listening to this podcast and after you get to listen to our comedian who just does this really fun riff on the Tonight Show about manifesting. But here's what I have to share, and I can't wait one more second. Okay, just a little backstory. About a year ago, the Comedy Cures research participants that I helped over the course of 8 weeks, and we have a beautiful research study on that called the Mindset and Metastatic Cancer Research Study. It's on the comedycures.org website. You can download the summary. They asked for us to do this podcast. They wanted me to teach them, and they didn't want it to stop just because the research study was stopping. And so I wanted to really understand, what did cancer podcasting look like? What were people doing? How was this being portrayed? What conversations were being had? What were the production values? Just how were cancer podcasts helping cancer patients? And I happened to stumble upon a list that reviewed the top 10 podcasts. And when I saw this list, I not only read all the descriptions, but I went to all those podcasts and I listened to them. And they were the major players in cancer care. You saw Memorial Sloan Kettering there. You saw ASCO, which is the big organization that represents global oncologists. I mean, these were heavy, heavy hitters. A lot of them were research-based. They had a lot of doctors on them. And when I listened to all of these podcasts, I didn't hear the conversation that I wanted to have with the cancer community as a stage 4 cancer survivor who beat the odds, who started a charity from my chemo chair called the Comedy Cures Foundation that really infused humor into the cancer conversation and developed strategies using a comic perspective to really help myself and others cope, not only with diagnosis, but with treatment, survivorship, and also as a caregiver or a healthcare professional helping us. So when I did this research from this list, I really found that the conversation I wanted to have was not being had. So that's how this 365-day Beating Cancer Daily conversation was born. And that hit the airwaves about 7 months ago. And we just started putting out daily episodes so that listeners would have daily support and humor throughout their journey. I have to report something to you that is so cool, yet so emotional to me. And I may cry, but those are tears of joy. And if you've heard me say this before, tears of joy and tears of distress or anger or fear, they're different composition. Tears of joy have a different makeup than those tears of releasing stressful emotion. So if you hear me cry, these are great celebratory tears. And I just want to thank you for being part of this celebration. So a few days ago, the list came out about the top cancer podcasts helping people. And like the list from years ago, it was compiled probably about 5 years ago, but I read it about a year ago. I saw that those big players were on that list. So the new list came out and you see these big cancer players on this list. And I urge you to go listen and sample and see if it's something that serves you. They're all very different and they all have a different place in the cancer conversation. But the first one is Johns Hopkins Hospital, major player in the cancer world and cancer research. ASCO, which is the Global Oncologist Association, and it's their research podcast. Number 3 is Cancer Care. That's a global cancer support organization. Number 4, Cancer Support Community. That is the clubhouse, the wellness clubhouse that are global, where you can go in and have social service support. Some of them even have a children's playroom and you can get support while your kid's playing in the playroom. That is another global organization. And then number 5, I feel like we need horns or a drum roll. This is where I'm going to cry. Number 5, we are there. You and me. And this 365-day podcast, Beating Cancer Daily, is number 5 on the list that I read a year ago to see if we had a place in this cancer conversation. Did I have something to say on a daily basis that would be different than all these other mega podcasts from these big institutions? And we are on the list 7 months after we hit the podcasting universe. They tapped us to be on this list of mega podcasts. Okay, here's the tears. We did it. If you hadn't listened, we wouldn't be on this list. I just can't even celebrate with us all enough. Okay, I'm going to continue just for a few more because I want you to see how cool this is. Number 6 is Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center's podcast. They're right after us. That's where I had my second and third surgery. Memorial Sloan Kettering, the hospital, the mega epicenter of cancer. People come from all over the world. Their podcast is listed just right after us. Number 7, Cure Magazine. I read Cure. Have you ever read it? It's a major cancer magazine. They're on the list at number 7. Number 8, ASCO again. But this is ASCO's patient support podcast. Now, there are about 10 of us on the list, but Beating Cancer Daily is smack dab in the middle of the giants. This is amazing. We also found out that we are in 42 countries. We have listeners now in 42 countries all around the world. And now we're on 6 continents, listeners on 6 continents. So I just want to share with you that in this case, I've manifested you. I've manifested this list. I didn't even think I was trying to manifest being on this list. I just used this list to know if we had a place at the table. Now, I don't know where you are in your cancer journey, or if you are trying to manifest your wellness or doing a charitable project or starting a business or making it to your kid's graduation. I just can tell you that manifesting has been a theme throughout my cancer journey, and it keeps coming up again and again. I am an eternal optimist. I do ask the universe for what I want, for what I need, for what I hope for. And if you want to get a big laugh, one of our Comedy Cures comedians just was on the Tonight Show doing a comedy routine on manifesting. Not only does Comedy Cures comedian Ian Lara poke fun at manifesting, but he also pokes fun at vision boards. And I don't know if you've listened to the episode on vision boards, but I do it. And I don't want to ruin Ian's comedy routine for you. I want you to finish listening to this episode, and then I want you to listen to Ian's routine, and then I want you to go to the Berkeley Wellness Institute and read through their manifesting solutions and ideas and videos. But just in terms of this podcast and this list, it's just like, it's making me so emotional. I'm just so glad I could share it with you, because I just want to tell the world that we're here. We're respected as being such an unbelievable support system. Now, when I approached my small group of volunteers and I shared the vision of what I wanted this podcast to be, and these amazing people offered to help. So to shout them out, it's Kathy, who helps with research. It's Julie, who helped with the website along with Kathy, a different Kathy. And then it's Kate, who's become such a dear friend at Podcast Network Solutions, and Lorena, who worked for us at the start of this podcast, and now Muriel. These people have just been so supportive of this vision. And the podcast description that Cancer Care News used to describe our podcast, putting us on this list, was the verbal description that I gave the small group of volunteers when I said, we have to put this in the universe. No one's doing what we want to do. And so here it is. Beating Cancer Daily podcast. Discover the healing power of laughter with this unique podcast. It combines humor and health to help listeners cope with life's challenges, including cancer. An uplifting and supportive podcast for everyone. Visit the Comedy Cures website to listen, laugh, and do a little something for yourself to brighten your day at the same time. Now, that was what I said I wanted to manifest. And here's a cancer podcast review site that listened to our podcast and heard the essence of what was in my heart, and it penetrated their heart. And then they wrote that to put us on the list of this best podcast list. So I just want to give you the biggest hug and celebration of this 7-month success. I just want to thank you for listening. Thank you for all of your feedback and suggestions. I love them. We hear you. We are building a community around the world that is just so much full of love, hope, support, comedy, comic perspective, positivity, and joy, and the reality of what we have to go through to build the strength that we need to fight and hopefully survive cancer daily. So I want you to go to the Comedy Cures Foundation and hit the menu and go to the contact button and write to me about what you're manifesting or how you're manifesting, or go to the record button in the podcast section and record your voice memo to me. I listen to everything, and it has been at the epicenter of what is making this podcast so successful, so beloved, and now recognized among the giants. Listen to Ian Lara. Let me know if you laughed. Go to the Berkeley Wellness Institute and let me know if the videos and the analysis of how you scientifically manifest help you. It is the most biggest blessing of my life to do this every day. And I can't wait for you to hear all the episodes. If you haven't heard them, there's several hundred. We're on our way to 365. Listen to the episodes with comedian Missy Hall as we take her through cancer treatment and talk about comic perspective. Listen to the episodes with functional medicine expert Jackie Bryan as we take you through the body, which was our second research study, and really from a scientific backed way, help you keep yourself in wellness while you're going through the cancer journey or survivorship. Every episode is so different. Some are just silly and full of humor. Some are full of strategies, but be part of this wellness community and celebrate today that we are among the giants. So there's just one more thank you that I would love for you to hear, and that is to the very talented sculptor, Will Ryman. Will, you were so responsive when I came to you and said I had a vision for this podcast. And I just want to thank you for your kickoff donation, which really helped make this possible. So thank you so much for your generosity that allowed Beating Cancer Daily to be born. And I hope you're proud of what we've accomplished. If you or someone you know has some extra change in your pocket, please make a donation to the Comedy Cures Foundation, comedycures.org. Just hit the donate button and help us keep this daily podcast going and helping so many people. I hope to report to you even more countries. I know there's only one more continent left, but they say that they're just research stations there. So I'll be happy with 6 continents and just helping as many of you as possible. Have a blessed day. Woohoo! I want to just hug you all and thank you for listening. See you tomorrow. If you loved today's episode, then tell the world. Why? Because Beating Cancer Daily and our membership circle are both a listener and donor supported experience. So the more people you tell and the more people that join us, the more robust and interesting programs our nonprofit, the Comedy Cures Foundation, can bring to you throughout the year. I really want you to go to comedycures.org. And of course, I always want you to make a donation. It's tax deductible to the extent allowed by law. But what's super exciting is not only can you laugh and explore the comedy there, you can look at our membership levels and find the one that's great for you. And if you're feeling a little bit generous, gift one to a chemo brother or sister or to a caregiver that you just want to help them improve the quality of their day. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening.